everyone. This is Zayami from FilmFestivalCircuit.com and the Oregon Short Film Festival. And right now we are gearing up for our spring event, which is going to take place on March 17th at the beautiful historic Clinton Street Theater in Portland, Oregon. And today we're talking with one of our participating filmmakers. Morgan Lee is the writer, director, and producer behind Ramos Fizz. Morgan, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So Ramos Fizz, it is so wild, so absurd, so funny. Tell me, what inspired this film?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, basically, when if you're in a relationship for a long time, you kind of tend to, over time, rely on that other person to remember things here and there. And I think that predominantly seems to happen with men. Of course, not across the board, but I think that's more common. And yeah, basically, I have a terrible memory, and I'm always relying on my girlfriend Laura, who's in the short. Basically to remember things. And we were out with another couple at dinner, and I was talking to the other guy, and I kind of kept forgetting things, and I kept going like, "Hey, babe, what was that thing that we did on Friday?" And then I watched him do the exact same thing to his girlfriend, and I was just like, "Oh my God, this would make a perfect sketch." And thus it was born. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, it's hilarious, and you really crank that fact up to 11, 12.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny watching this because it's not something I ever thought of specifically, but it's totally true. I do it too, and it's so funny to see a little detail of real life being reflected back in
Yeah,
such with the dial turned up so high. I'm
absolutely.
curious, what was it like writing this thing? Did you just kind of, was it rapid fire? Did the gags come to you right away, or what was that process like?
Yeah, this was a good one. This is one of those ones where have that simple premise, but then as you start kind of developing it and fleshing it out, it all just kind of like pours out, which is good. I definitely had a lot of
Totally.
personal experience to draw from, so that helped. And I always learned from sketch to just always be heightening the next thing. So it's
Okay,
just kind of
totally.
like where could this go, where how could it go even further? And yeah,
Well, I love that
well,
fact. And I mean, it's great to see the gags and the absurdity ramp up every time because as a viewer, I feel like once you get the flow of what's going on, you're
yeah,
just kind of on the edge of your seat waiting to see how crazy this thing gets. And it
yeah.
definitely delivers. And it's great to
Yeah,
see that ending. It's just so, I just love this
yeah.
one. But tell me how was it directing your actors, and what did you have to do to elicit those great full limbed responses to these to the script? How did you do that?
Yeah, well, I was very fortunate to have some incredible actors be willing to participate in this one. I'm an actor myself, so I primarily have done that, for many years, and so this is kind of like my chance to kind of explore what it's like being on the other side. But benefit of that is I know a lot of really wonderful, talented people that were willing to give their time for the project. So terms of directing them, it was very straightforward. They brought a lot to it inherently. They really connected with the material, which was great. But yeah, I think definitely just giving like a little guidance here and there, but honestly really didn't have to do much. And it's really interesting how you kind of, yeah, I'm a big planner. So this is one thing where I planned out all the shots and what I wanted to have happen. But as you'll see, Brian Sutherland in the kind of one who kind of takes it to the limit. He brought so much that I never even really had in mind. I had some ideas of what I wanted to do, but he really just kind of took it and ran with it. And so to just have that flexibility to know like when to get to that point of what you had planned, but still have that flexibility to allow
Totally.
for the magic to happen. So yeah, I was really grateful to have such a wonderful cast that really brought it to life.
Excellent. I love to hear that. I mean, it's always great to emphasize the collaborative aspect of working with actors who can take the
Yeah,
material and turn it wild. But no, it's this is a film where it's really clear to see that the actors are super talented
yeah,
because there's just stuff in there that you can't script, and
yeah,
there's so much great chemistry between the whole cast that it would just have to come from
yeah.
great individual skill. But
Well, and it really helped out to have a rehearsal too. We threw a
okay,
rehearsal.
so you guys did a rehearsal
Yeah,
beforehand.
I had so much blocking and little moments that I wanted to make sure to capture. So having that rehearsal was really important to me. And I know working a lot with film actors, not all of them are on board for rehearsal. And so I think that, especially, I remember on the day we did the rehearsal and we were going through it, I remember at the end, Brian was like, oh, now I understand why you wanted to have a rehearsal, because I know there's always that, maybe that, for an actor, it's kind of like, oh man, we have a rehearsal. Why don't we just,
Right.
just go and shoot it,
Yeah, just
But
roll.
yeah, I think putting in that little extra time to just kind of set the scene for what everybody's going to be doing on the day really helps to make things go
Totally.
smoothly. Yeah.
Well, that's great actionable advice, and I feel like I've been hearing from people more and more these days that they've been doing unfilmed rehearsals.
Oh, nice. Great.
Yeah, and it seems
Yeah.
to be eliciting great acting. Tell me, kind of in that vein, what did you learn from this process? Do you take away any new insights?
Yeah. I mean, I think, really, I take away so much because this is only, I've only done like a handful of video projects
Okay.
myself. So there's so much to learn, but I really think that, like, as I was saying earlier, like the planning is just so essential for me. And, um, having been on so many sets as an actor and just, feeling like, oh man, we almost got there, or like had we had more time to do, this or try these things. And
Mm,
so I think really just getting to like think through every moment and have that kind of not necessarily, I've tried storyboarding. It doesn't seem to really work for me, but
mm,
just kind of visually seeing it all and making that shot list is so imperative for me. And so then when I get there, I have that structure to go with, but then also having kind of that loose grip on it, having that
okay.
flexibility,
Right.
because like the actors did bring so much to it that I was able to, kind of, go away from what I had planned because I saw something better. And, but then, being able to stick to the plan as well. So
Totally.
yeah, the planning really has been working well for me in terms of my process. And,
Absolutely.
still
Uh,
early on, but I think that's a good way for me to go.
I mean, you're going in it with best practices already, which is
Yeah.
great. And having the pre-production, having a tight plan actually allows you more freedom when you're
Right.
shooting. It's
Exactly.
people won't think they want to, don't want to be rigid, but
Yeah.
you have more room to be able to open up and say, all right, we got what we know we needed. Now let's have some takes where you guys improvise or whatever.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
there's so
huge.
many happy accidents that happen that just really bring things to life, like especially
Totally.
in editing. And there's a series where I do like a whole bunch of jump cuts, kind of when Brian's going unhinged, and
Yeah,
I hadn't like planned to do that ahead of time, but I just kind of had put a bunch of his clips in the timeline and I was playing them back. But as it was kind of cutting around, I was like, oh, that adds like a whole different energy and
totally.
allows me to even use more of his brilliant material than I had planned to use. So
I
yeah,
love that.
it's very cool.
Well, so tell me, Morgan, do you have any other projects in the works right now?
Yeah, film wise, I've got some things written and I'm kind of poking around with an idea, but right now I'm just fully in on actually a live sketch show that
Oh,
I'm directing my first live show
excellent.
with a sketch group that I met in a class back in 2019 called Pretty Kitty Glitter Party.
Nice.
And yeah, we're gearing up for a live show at the Siren Theater in April, and yeah, so just kind of been fully immersed in that. We all wrote sketches for it and are all performing in it,
Excellent.
and yeah,
This will be a
trying
stage
the
show?
what's that?
This will be a stage show?
Yeah. So it's going to be a
Okay.
live sketch comedy show at the Siren Theater, and yeah, so that's just it's fun. I have a big theater background, so it's fun to kind
Okay.
of draw from that and also kind of use some of the organizational tools I've been learning through my film work to kind of like apply it to that. So yeah, it's been a blast. I'm having so much fun. So yeah, if you
That's
want to
so
come see
exciting.
some live sketch comedy, come check out.
Yeah, absolutely, and
Yeah.
you are, Portland-based, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great, and what's the theater that you're going to be, performing at?
We're performing at the Siren Theater. Yeah, and
Okay,
the sketch group's
amazing.
Pretty Kitty Glitter Party,
Excellent. I'll
PKGP.lol.
definitely look into that, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's so cool to see that you have both theater and now you're doing the behind the camera role.
yeah,
Um, what do you think about sort of this is kind of an offshoot question, but I'm always
yeah,
curious. What do you think about the differences between theater acting and film acting and how you can bridge those worlds? Because it
yeah.
seems pretty different. What's your experience with
Absolutely.
that?
I don't think they're as different as most people say they are. There's
Okay.
definitely things you need to adapt for. In the theater, it's kind of most people are like, oh, you have to kind of perform much bigger, and maybe if you're in a giant theater, which that is true, but I genuinely think that if you're staying true to the circumstances under any environment, you're
Mhm.
really going to show it. And I think in film, you might pull it in a little bit more, you might hold it a little more internally, but I don't think the fundamentals are really that different.
Okay.
Obviously it depends on the material, like for comedy and stuff like that, where we're going to go a little bit bigger even in this show. But to me it's really important just staying grounded, even when it's going crazy. And that's what
Yeah, totally.
I love, especially like James Lester and in this in Ramos Fizz. It's like he's doing all this stuff that's totally out there, but yeah, it feels still so grounded and
Right.
so like real to the character.
Totally.
And yeah, to me that's like the most powerful thing. And I think you can do that on stage too. I don't think you really need to ham it up as much as people say you
Right.
do. So
I love that. Well, that's a great insight. That's definitely a learned insight. That's not just
yeah.
rattling off the old standby knowledge. I love hearing that. Well, so is there anything else you'd like to add about Ramos Fizz?
Um, I'm just so excited to see it on the big screen for the first time with an audience of people that I
Yeah.
don't know at all, and see how it's received. And I really hope that people enjoy it. It was such a pleasure making it. I'm so lucky to have had such an amazing cast and crew to help me out. It's took a chance on a total beginner, and I'm really honored that all of you decided to screen it for a Portland audience. It means a lot. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for producing this film. I mean, it's funny, it's rapid fire, it's so enjoyable. People are
Oh,
absolutely going to love it on March 17th at the Oregon Short Film Festival, and I can't
yeah,
wait to put it on.
awesome. Thank
Morgan, thank
Appreciate
you
it.
so much, man. Take
Appreciate
care.
it. Yeah, have a good one. Bye bye.
See you then.